Hello friends, and welcome to the world's largest SUV camper conversion project. I have good news. It's finished and I am on the shakedown run. Driven up to probably one of the most beautiful free campsites that I've ever found along the California coast, 3,260 feet above the Pacific Coast Highway here. And it is absolutely gorgeous. And the truck is performing great. In this video, I would like to share how we were able to go to one source, LiTime, and they were able to outfit the entire electrical system of this camper. And this video is going to show all the different components that they offer and that you can get on their website for your DIY camper build. And I have been very happy so far. So let's jump right into it. Let me show you this campsite. This is spectacular. All the way down there is the PCH, and this is just a beautiful stretch of coastline, and sitting atop this mountain, 3,260 feet. Towards the evening hours, there are some folks that come in. Somebody with a Jeep pulled in a little bit ago, so it's not super top secret or anything, but these views are absolutely breathtaking. So let's get into the electrical system. All right, in case this is the first video you're seeing, this is a 2001 Ford Excursion 4x4 gasoline 6.8 liter V10, and we turned it into a self-contained camper. Let's just start right back here. Got the barn doors. We're opening them up, and keep in mind, this video is going to be focused on the electrical system and LiTime components and explaining their function and how you can outfit your whole camper off of their website. It's amazing. Yeah, a little disclaimer, I did have to buy some bus bars and odds and ends off of Amazon, but the beefy components are all from LiTime. So here it is. Going into the back, we have drawers, and I'm going to be opening all this stuff up later in the full tour, but this is dedicated to electronics. So there's an inverter. I'll show you that. I'm not flipping you off, sorry. And this is an outlet I put in here for the inverter, a little fan to help some airflow. I know there's not a lot of space there, but hey, it is something better than nothing. And right here is the main electrical bay. So let's talk about what you're looking at here. This is a battery on-off switch for the DC to DC charger. And what a DC to DC charger is it takes the output from your alternator, which is on your vehicle's engine, and it sends juice to charge your house battery. But what the DC to DC does is it regulates it so that when your battery is charged, it cuts off the current and you're not overcharging the battery. So it's a safety and regulatory device of the current. I have it, it's a 40 amp charger. I'm pretty darn confident that we're running the good old stock alternator on here. So they have a pin that I was able to put in, a little looper pin that has it only putting out 20 amps of juice right now, which is more than enough. I know if you do the math with the size of battery that we have, that's 10 hours of driving to completely charge a dead battery, but very rarely is the battery dead. And I just don't want to tax the alternator until we decide to upgrade it. So that's that, and that is the DC to DC right there. So behind the diesel heater are the gland holes for running the positive and the negative for it through from the outside to the inside. So there it goes into this switch, and I just like the switch because if I want to turn the DC to DC off, I can do that. But that is not mandatory. And there's the inputs, there's the outputs, And those are my two main bus bars for collecting. Just to the left of that is a 3,000 watt inverter. And what a 3,000 watt inverter does is it takes the electricity from your battery, which is 12 volt DC, and switches it to 120 volt AC, which is what you have in your home. So you can plug in your computer, an induction plate, just regular household outlets for North American households, at least. I opted for a 3,000 watt one because I'd like to be able to run like an 1,800 watt, specifically induction hot plate. And I could have gone with a 2,000 watt, but why run it that close to the max when for just a little bit more real estate, you could go with the 3,000. So that's where we're at with the inverter. And that was very easy to wire in. Just have some wire, positive and negative. They go to the bus bar, and then on the back side of it are four 120 volt outlets. Now, one thing, you can see if I can get you down in there, but you'll see that thing with two black wires. That's a shunt for the battery monitor system. And the battery monitoring system is, I'm coming to realize, is that it's a little more valuable when you're running multiple batteries instead of one single battery with a BMS battery monitor system built in. Because the battery that we installed in this, the heart of this system, is a 200 amp hour LiTime battery, and it has a built-in BMS. So I am finding myself relying on that BMS more so than the one that I wired in. So just putting that out there. But if you have multiple batteries and you need to sync them all to one central BMS, that's where I'm guessing a BMS would be helpful. Or if your battery just straight ass does not have a BMS from the purchase. Let's see here. Let's head on around and I'll show you what we have going on over there. This is the main entrance to the camper, and this is how I get in. Oh, gotta make sure I'm not gonna sit on this and break the case from my camera, and kicking off the shoes to keep it clean. And we are inside the habitat now. This is the control center box. Here's the display for the inverter, so I can tell how much juice is it's outputting, and it will also give you voltage on the battery. This is for the BMS, like I just talked about. I'm not really using it much because I only have one battery and it has a BMS already. Outlet hooked up to the inverter. Oh, let there be light. There's 6 of these suckers, and that's not a LiTime thing, that's an Amazon thing. But okay, let's get into right here. So I do have this compartment, so it does not necessarily open on its own, but I undid the screws, and here we are. Well, let me see if I can add a little light to this. Okay, so I got my phone here, flashlight, putting a little light in here. This is the LiTime Group 31 200 amp hour lithium battery. This is a brand new product from them. And I just realized I put the black battery terminal cover on the wrong one, but that's okay. Only I would know to catch that. Well, I'd like to think most people would catch that does not add up. There's another bus bar, but this, I want to talk to you about this battery here. That's 200 amp hours in a group 31. So think about back in the day, old deep cycle batteries. Those were lead acid and they were like 100 amp hours, but you could only get about half of them out. So they were essentially, give or take, 50 amp hour batteries. 4 deep cycle batteries from back in the day are in this one little battery. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that is stinking amazing. And there are game-changing things in my tenure, or our tenure of RVing, and lithium batteries is one of them, and Starlink internet is another, and 12-volt refrigeration. Like, these are game-changing things, and we've been on the road nomadically for 11 years in the lower 48, and you add another 3 of summers nomadic in Alaska. We've seen a lot and know what ultimately matters. And if you have a big battery that's lithium that you can completely more or less use up all 200 amp hours, give or take, it's just allows you to stay out longer and make this lifestyle more sustainable, which ultimately is what it is all about if you love travel and seeing new places. And gosh darn, well, yeah, you're all backlit, but places like this. So in terms of, oh goodness, I am forgetting something here. Hold up. We get my shoes on, have a whole other side over here. And we have the LiTime 30 amp solar charge controller. So right now at this time, there is a 175 watt panel on the roof. I have that half-assed ran through the door jamb right now because I have not gotten around to spending $1,800 on a front runner roof rack for the Excursion. And because literally, I always say, like, gotta get your priorities straight, and getting a vehicle so it can actively travel in is more important than pimping. And I know a good roof rack is functional pimping, but yeah, so it is kind of temporary right now, and I get it. So here's what we got. Coming over here, here is the MPPT 30 amp solar charge controller. There's an app associated with this as well, and I know this is your first time seeing all this. It's a bit overwhelming. Stay tuned for the full video, and this will fill you in. It'll fill you in, but right now there's just these 2 solar wires coming on down. Got a 15 amp breaker on that, and going into the controller, and getting about 11 amps or so at peak, maybe a little less into the battery, which is not too bad for a 175 watt panel. This solar array will expand with time. There will be a deployable foldable panel used to complement it as well. And once a roof rack is on here, I will figure out what else can fit. But those are all steps and part of the fun of building a camper. Now, right down here under this bundle of wires is a LiTime 120 volt to 12 volt battery charger. I have an on-off switch for the whole battery system, and the wiring is what it is. I did not have many options. I could not tuck it up there. So these are here, and it is what it is. But when it comes time to charge the battery via plugging into the wall somewhere, or 120 volt, I just ran this out the door, and the door can be closed on it, and your charging the battery. It literally is that easy, and it gives us coverage from plugging into somebody's house, driving, or using the solar panels to collect electricity and charge our battery. I really want to give some thanks right now. Start off with LiTime. This is our second collaboration with them. They helped us and put a 320 amp hour giant lithium battery in our travel trailer that we tow with the 4Runner. And when I pitched them this idea, they were happy to jump on board and work with us. And I love their products. It has been great so far. Yeah, even their manuals. There were no typos in the manuals. The manuals were easy to read and easy to program. A lot of thought and care went into making this product. I also want to give some shout outs to some friends. Like my dad was a tremendous help in building this in terms like grabbing wire cutters or dikes, electrical tape, anything and everything throughout the process to help make it easier. My friend Dan, an engineer, he helped teach me and solidify, I should say, a lot of my 12-volt skills, and I consulted him for some of my electrical questions. And I talked to our friend Mark about some of the solar stuff. And lo and behold, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I wired that shit up correctly the first time. Not bragging. I'm just saying that's pretty freaking impressive that this is my first build. I fixed a lot of stuff, but never a ground up scratch build. And I nailed it the first time, folks. That's pretty exciting. So again, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on this build. And the next one, we're going to be talking about refrigeration. And the one after that is going to be a full tour of how all the systems function and work in this camper. So that's going to be the big grand finale. Thanks for being here.